I've been using Linux for a while, and often in the terminal. It's not about the destination, but the friends we made along the way. Here's some things I use often. I run a lot of commands and don't always remember them. History is great for that. So if we just type in history, you'll see all the stuff I've recently messed with. Oh, that's great. But as you can see, there's 2,584 lines in my history file. If you want to know where that is, it should be at your home. I use Z shell. So for me, it's ZSH_history. And it even gives a Unix timestamp when the command was issued. All right, how about we find a command in all of this? Well, that's easy. We use history and we pipe into grep and the search term. Let's say I need to use the network manager for some reason, and I forgot what I did. All right, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here for NMCLI, so now I can look at them and say, oh, that's great. What was that command again? Oh, right, it was NMCLI radio Wi-Fi. Awesome. I do use pipe quite often. And often I'll use it with -R and pipe that into less. And now I can look at all these different directories and see what's in each of them. All right, back to history. So let's say we do history, we pipe for NMCLI, we grep for NMCLI. You can either retype it by hand or you can do bang and then the number. Let's say just for this example, I just want to do the -H for help, and it outputs that command. Awesome. Another useful trick is rerunning the last command. You can press up or you can press 2 bangs and it'll do the same thing again. That's not super useful on its own because you can press up and do it again. But let's say you run a command like edit and you want to set the ID of this to ENS0101, whatever. Save. Oh no, insufficient privileges. All right, let me quit out of here. Remember how we did 2 bangs for the last command? You can do sudo bang bang, and there you go. There we go. Now I can set connection ID to whatever I want. Save and quit. Awesome. Sometimes you'll have a lot of output from a command, and you need to debug what's going on. All right, as a basic example, let's just use uname-a. Pretend this is a super long. It's going to fill up your whole terminal, and you can't scroll up enough. It's just going to fill it up, fill the whole buffer. One useful way is to redirect the output. Let's just call this uname.log. As you can see, it didn't print out any of this information, but if we cat out that uname.log, it has that same information in there. The greater than symbol there is an operator that will truncate everything in the file. And if that file does not exist, it will create it, as we just saw. But if we want to append something to a file, we can use, let's see, appended data. We use 2 greater than symbols. So we'll go into uname.log, and if we cat that out, we have that appended data after. Now, if I want to truncate the entire file with something new, we just use the single. And now if I cat that file out, it's just got that single word truncated. A lot of things I do require parsing outputs from other commands. That's where AWK comes in. So in an example, we'll use our NMCLI show. We're going to pipe that into AWK, single quote, print 1, semicolon, close that out. So the 1 takes the first column, the second takes the second column, and so forth. So if we do NMCLIC show, this will be for the next tip when you make a mistake. As you can see, the AWK print 1 printed just the first row here. So if you want to do the second, which will get the UUID here, we'll get all our UUIDs. As you can see, there is a couple connections I no longer need, the airport and that roadway in. NMCLIC show, pipe that into a grep. I'm going to look for, let's just look at that again. Okay, now we're going to have to go ahead and pipe NMCLI show into less. If you can see this, there is 2 dashes here. So NMCLIC show, pipe into grep. I am looking for, got to escape these dashes. I'm going to AWK, print the second one so I get the UUID, and pipe that into while read con do. I probably need sudo NMCLIC delete that con, and done. All right, let's talk about this for a second. So NMCLI show will take all this data, and then we are going to grep for 2 dashes, so it will get just these bottom 2, and AWK, we'll pipe that into AWK, and it's going to print just the UUID, and we're going to pipe that into a while loop in bash. So it will take the UUID as con, and we're going to run delete on that connection UUID and then finally done. And I made a huge mistake here. This is the next tip, but we're going to go ahead and go over it now. Fix command. Sometimes you type a long command, but you messed it up. That's where fix command comes into the rescue. We just do FC. Now this opens up your text editor. I use Vim, so that's what it opened up in. Instead of backticks, I was supposed to use a single quote. I don't know how I messed that up. You make your changes in this FC command, and then for Vim, it's write and quit, WQ, and then it will go ahead and run the command. As you can see, it successfully deleted those 2 connections. All gone. Awesome. All right, using fix command is great, but how about an on-the-fly shell script? I mean, you could write a shell script, or if you just wanted something temporary, it's Control plus X and E. As you can see, I am in a temporary file, some random name here with a Z shell. Once again, this opens up in your text editor you have set on your system. I am in Vim, so I can write hello, Control plus X plus E. And you can actually do multi-lines here. And then just like FC, once you are done, you save out your file and quit. And for me, it actually puts it in the buffer. And if I just press enter, it should run all this stuff. So echoed out hello, Control plus X plus E. It did a DF-H. And then I did an MCLI show. Okay, sometimes I'm running on a server and running a super long command. For example, I've had to run chmod-r on a ton of files that took 15 to 20 minutes to finish. And I might lose my connection, depending on SSH timeout on the server. And if I drop, that command will terminate and I'll have to run it again. Super annoying. All right, for our testing, I'm going to run a really long sleep command to simulate something that takes forever. But I want to run on one of my servers here. So I'm going to run sleep for, 500 seconds. As you can see, I cannot enter any commands or do anything else since this is taking this. So to get around that, Control Z puts it stops it, but I still want to run it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit background. So it's actually running in the background. I go disown-A and go ahead and exit. Now, if I log back into that same server in a different terminal and I do PSAUX, grep for sleep, we should still see that running for 500 seconds. Awesome. Way to level up by doing. The code will be hosted on GitLab. Link will be in the description. And thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, and comment to defeat that algo monster.